Imagine living in the same house as the person who's hurt you the most, a broken bar, and pretending they don't exist. Not because you're petty, but because every word from them is poison. That's my reality, and the day my father told me to take my own life, I decided he would never hear my voice again. If you've ever had someone in your own family treat you like you're worthless, hit that like button right now, because this story is about surviving abuse, standing your ground, and serving justice in the most unexpected way possible. When people hear I live at home rent-free at 21, they imagine comfort, safety, maybe even some spoiled kid who won't grow up scenario. What they don't see is the reality, a house that feels like a minefield. My mom works herself half to death doing 12-hour shifts at the hospital, switching between nights and days like she's in some endless loop. My dad? He's recently retired, which in our household means a broken bar, more time to drink. I do everything I can to pull my weight. I'm in the middle of a gap year after finishing undergrad early, working part-time, applying to grad school, running errands, cleaning, cooking, taking care of our elderly dog, and even helping my grandmother who doesn't live with us. I know I'm lucky I don't have to pay rent. I do. But luck doesn't make the constant tension any easier to breathe through. My father has always been physically present and emotionally vacant. But his absence wasn't silent. It was filled with insults. As a kid, if I struggled with math, I wasn't just bad at math, I was called stupid, useless, every curse word you can imagine. He nitpicked every inch of me and my sister, our clothes, our hair, the way we spoke, our spotless rooms that were somehow never clean enough. It wasn't discipline. It was control. And worse, a humiliation. The drinking wasn't new. By middle school, I already knew that by 6:30 p.m., I needed to vanish from his line of sight. By 8 p.m., he was always drunk, mean drunk. Looking for a fight. Looking for someone to break down. In 2023, my life took a sharp nosedive when I developed a chronic illness. The kind that changes how you wake up, how you walk, how you exist. There were months of tests, scans, treatments, months where I questioned whether I wanted to keep going. And in one argument, my dad looked me dead in the eyes and told me my illness wasn't real. Another time, he spat out the words that still echo in my head, "Why don't you just go off yourself?" That was it. The last straw. I didn't scream back. I didn't cry in front of him. I just a broken bar shut down. My voice became something I would never give to him again. I became invisible on purpose. We could be in the same room and I'd act like he wasn't there. If he spoke, I wouldn't even blink in his direction. I made myself a ghost in my own home, because at least ghosts can't be wounded by words. But of course, silence is never really silent in a toxic family. My mom, exhausted and desperate for peace, begged me to talk to him. She insisted I should make amends, as if mutual destruction could be patched over with small talk. Family members chimed in too. Just talk it out, you're being dramatic, it's your father, you'll regret it if something happens to him. They didn't hear the same man tell his daughter her life wasn't worth living. They didn't see the violence simmering under his drunken slurs. The last time I tried to talk it out, I told him how much his words had hurt me over the years. His response? I wasted my life and money on kids. And when I gave him specific examples of his cruelty, he just shrugged and said, none of that ever happened. That's when I realized, my revenge wasn't going to be some grand explosive scene. It wasn't going to be yelling, throwing things, or airing our laundry to the neighbors. My revenge was going to be the one thing he couldn't control. My existence without him in it. I started timing my movements around the house like a prison escapee. I'd eat before he came downstairs. Shower when he was out. Slip into my room without a sound when the clock struck 6:30. But it wasn't just avoidance. I made sure he felt the absence. No good mornings. No answering questions directly. If something absolutely required communication, I'd pass the message through my mom like we lived in separate realities. Every interaction was a reminder, you have no place in my world anymore. And you know what? For the first time, I felt control. At first, he pretended it didn't bother him. But I could see the cracks. He'd throw out passive-aggressive comments to my mom within earshot as some people in this house think they're better than everyone else, or guess I'm just invisible now. The irony made me want to laugh. Invisible. That's exactly how he made me feel for 21 years. Soon, he started trying to bait me into asking stupid questions he already knew the answer to, making fake jokes that were just insults wrapped in sarcasm. But I stayed stone cold. The drunker he got, the more desperate his attempts became. And every time I stayed silent, I could see the frustration twist his face. One night, during a small family gathering, he tried to pull one of his look at me moments. He made some loud, exaggerated remark about how the younger generation can't even show respect to their parents. All eyes turned to me, waiting for me to break, to defend myself, to engage. I just smiled politely, a broken bar at everyone except him. Then I turned back to my phone like he wasn't even in the room. The silence that followed was deafening. My relatives shifted uncomfortably, clearly realizing there was a side to the story they didn't know. My father? He looked like someone had just slapped him, except the slap was the absence of my voice, my attention, my care. That night, he didn't say another word to me. And for once, it wasn't because I was afraid of him, it was because he had run out of things to say. Some people think revenge has to be loud. That you have to scream, or fight, or burn bridges in a blaze of glory. But sometimes, the most powerful revenge, a broken bar, is silence. Because silence isn't empty. It's full of every boundary they can't cross, every power they no longer have over you. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and tell me in the comments what's the one thing you'd never forgive? And if you want more stories about standing your ground and getting justice, make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss what's coming next.